What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon X and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon X Hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny Eeveelutions. So we're back on it, we're back on the grind of Hardcore Nuzlocke. I'm actually running out of challenge ideas. I've done every single typing on X and Y. I can't believe I did it already. And I'm like, what other challenges can I do? Because I rotate around games, if you guys haven't noticed. And I do ORS, X and Y, and Sun and Moon. But I'm running out of things to do. I might have to venture outside of 3DS games. Or maybe do Ultra Sun and Moon. I can't tell, but I'm gonna need some ideas. So let me know some more ideas down in the comments down below. But besides that, we're on Pokemon X and Y, or Pokemon X. And today's challenge, we're gonna use a bunch of Eeveelutions to beat this Hardcore Nuzlocke. So let's get into the rules of this real quick. Technically, it's not really a Nuzlocke because Nuzlockes are like, you're limited to one Pokemon per route. And this one is actually reversed. I'm only limited to catching one Pokemon specifically. I can only catch shiny Eevees. And each form has only one life. So if they ever faint, I can't use that form again. And I had to ditch it. So like 7 to 8 lives of using Eeveelutions. So it's not too bad. Eeveelutions are pretty good. And as well, there's going to be a level cap, which is going to be the highest level per gym badge. So the highest level in the gym leader's team. And as well, on top of that, I have to play on set mode. There are no items inside of battle. You can use hell items this time around, but you can't use bag items. And outside of that, I think we should be good. Besides the best part of the challenge, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, our first Pokemon, we're just going to spawn ourselves a shiny Eevee. And I chose the nature of it. I chose the mild nature, which is going to be fun. So a mild nature Eevee is going to be our first starter Pokemon, which is kind of cool. I mean, I always forget that Eevee is actually a starter Pokemon. It's a starter Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which I've actually never finished. But yeah, it is a starter Pokemon. So once we get a starter Pokemon, we're going to actually make our way into the first gym in the game. I could have technically evolved my Eevee into a Sylveon, but I kind of want to play through a little bit of the game first, as in get the first gym badge. So we're going to start the battle off against Viola, the first gym leader in the game, using my shiny Eevee. Now Eevee is able to tackle down the Surskit, which actually does a lot of damage, surprisingly. So we're able to 3-shot into the Surskit, knock him down, and also waste the potion early on. Very useful. As from there, we can face off against Overleveling. We take a tackle, and then I realized that it's Swift. I'm like, my special attack is way higher than my physical attack. It worked out perfectly, as Vivillon's can go for a hard hit on the same turn I use Swift. And eventually, I'm gonna chunk it down. I get Infestation, it crit me, and she's gonna keep knocking me down. I go down to low HP, but lucky enough, I do live at one more tackle, and I'm able to Swift and knock out the Vivillon without getting hit by the Infestation, allowing me to get to level 13 and also learning Quick Attack. So we're able to beat down Viola, get the first gym badge in the game, which is nice. And then from there, we're gonna start playing with our Eevee. I'm really bad at this. I keep burning my hand on her space. I'm trying to get the hearts up to 2 hearts, and then it's gonna allow me to evolve my Eevee. We spent a lot of time doing it. We beat Professor Sycamore in the meantime, and then we go back playing with my Eevee, and it's really not working out too well because my happiness is pretty high. And I don't get the second heart for some reason. I'm pretty bad at doing this. This time around, it was way harder than normal, but I actually accidentally beat this Team Flare Grunt and evolved my Eevee into an Espeon. And I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. So I was trying to evolve it into a Sylveon. So I didn't do that correctly. So from there, we're going to head into Route 11, which we're able to shiny up for our next shiny Pokemon, which is going to be Eevee. This is the route with Eevees. You want to actually hunt in the yellow flowers because I think that's the spot for Eevees. And we're able to get ourselves the first Eevee, a shiny Eevee ourselves. It hits pretty hard, surprisingly, so we got to be very careful of that. We're able to capture this Eevee, and then from there, we have to go back into the grind. We have to catch 4 more to fill out our team. We're going to make sure we can catch a second one. Eventually, we find ourselves a second Eevee, shiny Eevee, catch it real quick, add it to our team. I caught this Eevee and then one more shiny Eevee, as you see, and from there, I'm kind of getting tired of getting encounters for Eevees, so I'm just going to take a break from there. I'm going to go back, evolve some of my Pokemon. I evolved one of my Eevees into a Jolteon, so that's very nice. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Grant, the second gym leader in the game. Now, I'm going to start the battle off against Grant using my Eevee against his Amora. It's going to go for a Thunder Wave. It's kind of annoying, but I'm going to use Baby Doll Eyes to lower the attack stat of the Amora. And eventually, I'm able to chip it down a little bit using my Jolteon. Eventually, waste Grant's Hyper Potion, and then chip it down continuously. Eventually, I'm able to knock out the Amora, and then his next Pokemon will be a Tyrant, which I go out to my other Eevee in the bag that hasn't entered the battle. I'm able to go for one Baby Doll Eyes against him, and then take a Rock Tomb, and then switch out into my Espeon, which unfortunately he gets hit with a Bite. But it looks like I could survive a second one, and I outspeed this Tyrant, as I'm able to hit it with a Side Beam, with also a Mind Plate on it. and surprisingly actually one-shots it. So I thought I was going to two-shot it, but we're able to one-shot the Tyrant, beat down Grant, and get ourselves the second gym badge in the game. Very nice from us. And from there, we're going to go back and playing with our Eevee, play the berry picking simulator. That's going to give me a bunch of Pokepuffs, and then that's going to get Eevee to 2 hearts happiness, allowing me to evolve the Eevee into a Sylveon, which is probably my favorite Eeveelution, probably next to Jolteon. From there, I'm going to also get the Water Stone, evolve my Eevee into a Vaporeon. From there, we're going to go back into hunting our last 2 Eevees, which we do find pretty rapidly. Unfortunately, I don't find the Firestone. I don't know where the Firestone is, and I'm not very bothered by not finding the Firestone, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna catch this Eevee and a second one, which didn't take too long at all. We're able to catch 2 more Eevees to round up our team, which is very nice. We're gonna make sure the time is nighttime so we can evolve one of them to an Umbreon, and then from there we're gonna move out into Reflection Cave and then clear through the fighting Pokemon in here. This Espeon is just so broken. As long as it's not a dark type Pokemon, Espeon could destroy anything with Psybeam and also a Mind Plate. From there, lucky for us, we're gonna face off against a fighting type gym leader, Karina. Karina's the 3rd gym leader in the game. He's gonna start the battle off against us using a Mienfoo. Against my Espeon, I get faked out, but that's the last time she hits me. As I'm able to Psybeam, knock out the Mienfoo. Her next Pokemon will be a Machoke, which I go out and Psybeam again, knock out the Machoke. I learned Morning Sun, which is going to be a very useful move later on. I'm able to Psybeam into the Hawlucha and also knock him out as well, as we're able to beat down Karina and get ourselves the 3rd gym badge in the game. From there, we're going to move out and get ourselves the Mega Stone. I mean, that's cool. I can't really use it. I have a bunch of Eevees. They did give it extreme Evo boost in the next games to give it a Z move, like a special Z move. Possibly. I mean, I think there should be more Eeveelutions, like the whole typing. Like there's only like 6 or 7, so maybe more typing could be cooler. Aside from that tangent, we're gonna face up against Ramos next. Ramos is gonna be the grass type gym leader in the game, and ironically would have been very useful to have a Flareon here. But we're gonna start the battle off against Ramos using my Jolteon. Jolteon does not have an electric move just yet, so I'm gonna go for a Thunder Wave against the Jumpluff, get leech seeded, and then get scared out into my Sylveon, which doesn't have a fairy move just yet. So we're just gonna get chipped down the Jumpluff using Bite. So it's not looking great for us, but we're able to get it down to low HP, switch back into my Jolteon, and then from there I'm able to bite down the Jumpluff faster after it heals up with a Hyper Potion, 2 Hyper Potions, so at least Ramos doesn't have any more healings after that. And eventually we're able to knock out the Jumpluff using my Jolteon. His next Pokemon is gonna be a Go-Go, which I'm like, this could be pretty bad. I go out to my Espeon. Espeon's able to Psybeam into the Go-Go. It became confused and hit itself, so we're able to go for a Psybeam once again. Unfortunately, it doesn't kill the Go-Go as I get Bodos again, and I'm really scared of dying to the Go-Go. Espeon is easily the best Pokemon on my team at this moment, so I'm gonna switch out into one of my random Eevees, and it worked out as we're able to just knock him out with his own recoil to takedown. And then from there, his final Pokemon will be a Weeping Bell, which I don't want to risk my Espeon, so I'm just going to stay with my Eevee. I do some chip damage and then switch out into my Vaporeon. I get Poison Powder, and then it goes for Acid against me, so not the smartest play, as we're able to easily beat down Ramos at the end against the Weeping Bell. The Go-Go, Jumpluff, kind of annoying, but then a Weeping Bell at the end. It should have been a Victory Bell. That could have been more interesting, I'm not going to lie. We're going to get ourselves the 4th gym badge in the game and also evolve our Eevee into an Umbreon in the Power Plant. We're going to clear through the Power Plant, super nice, and then from there we're going to face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Clement. Clement's the 5th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Sylveon against his Amoga. Now Sylveon finally has a fairy move as I have Moonblast now, which is probably the best fairy move. We're able to Moonblast and knock out the Amoga easily, and then his next Pokemon will be a Magneton. This thing does have a Steel move, but it always goes for electric terrain, so I switch out to my Vaporeon, and just to bait in the electric move as I double into my Jolteon, absorb the Thunderbolt, and then go for a Bite and didn't do a lot of damage at all. So Discharge does a lot of damage surprisingly, but it Mirror Shots me lower my XP twice, so I actually miss my Discharge, which is insane to think. I land the second one, but then it's going to set up another electric terrain, which I'm like, you know what, let me just back out. Let me switch out into my Vaporeon real quick, and then I'm going to outspeed the Magneton using Surf, so I can knock out the Magneton using my Vaporeon, and then switch out to my Jolteon against his next Heliolisk, which is his ace Pokemon. I'm able to absorb the HP from Thunderbolt, and then go for a bunch of discharges against him. I'm able to eventually knock out the Heliolisk, and then get myself the 5th gym badge in the game. From there, we also get a Thunderbolt TM to give my Jolteon that, and after that, we're able to face off against Serena in this little random fight in Route 14. We fight Serena a lot of times. We're able to move on into the next gym, Valerie's gym. Valerie is going to be the 6th gym leader in the game. We're able to start the battle off against her using my Sylveon against her Malwa. I have a Vaporeon, which I do switch into as it gets an Iron Defense up, and then Surf for one-shot it, since actually I don't even have the CN since it just one-shot the Malwa. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Mr. Mime, which I decided to go into my Jolteon to use my newly found move, Thunderbolt, as I'm able to Thunderbolt into the Mr. Mime and knock him out. From there, her next Pokemon will be her Sylveon, which I double into my Sylveon. And from there, it's a Sylveon versus Sylveon matchup. I'm gonna go for a Moonblast. Didn't do any damage, so I'm like, I gotta switch out. So I switch out to my Espeon. Espeon's able to go for a Psychic against him. Eventually, just chip down the Sylveon and knock him out, which is very nice. From there, we're able to beat down Valerie, get ourselves the 6th gym badge in the game. And now we're gonna move out into the Ice Cavern. I don't know what it's called. It's probably called the Ice Cavern, I'm not gonna lie. And then from there, we're able to go out into the Ice Stone, evolve our Eevee into a Glaceon, which I don't really want. But it's either this or Leafeon, and Flareon's not a choice, so it's either one. It doesn't really matter. As we're able to face off against Team Flare down here as well, and beat our rival in Cormir Town? Or Anastar, this is Anastar City. We're able to face off against our rival, beat her down pretty easily, and face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Olympia next. Olympia is the 7th gym leader in the game, and also the Psychic gym leader. So we're going to start the battle off against her using my Jolteon, obviously, because she has Psychic Pokemon. So we're able to Thunderbolt and knock out the Sigilyph in one shot. Then her next Pokemon will be a Slowking, which I Thunderbolt, survived it. He's getting yawn me, he's kind of annoying. I could knock out the Slowking, but I decided to switch out into my Umbreon, which will fight and flinch down the Slowking, and then two-shot him pretty easily. Her next Pokemon will be a Meowstic, which I'm able to bite twice and then knock out. So yeah, so the Eeveelution seems pretty good to me. As we're able to beat down Olympia, move out into the Team Flare hideouts, and then beat 06, which I kind of like his name now. He's gonna pop up the, the Death Machine. We have to go catch Xerneas, all the great stuff. From there, we're gonna face off against Lysander in the final fight against Team Flare. We're gonna start the battle off against Lysander using my Espeon against his Mienshao. We're gonna go for a Psychic and knock out the Mienshao. His next Pokemon is gonna be his Pyroar, so I'm gonna go for a Psychic, two-shot him, actually one-shot him. Oh my god, this thing's powerful. From there, he's going to switch out into his Honchkrow, which I go out into my Sylveon. I could take a Dark move easily. It crit me, kind of annoying, but I'm able to go for a Moonblast and knock out the Honchkrow, which is nice. And then his final Pokemon will be his Gyarados. He's going to Mega Evolve and also be a part Dark type. So I'm able to go for a Moonblast. It actually doesn't kill, and I'm like, uh-oh. Then he goes for an Iron Head, which I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to kill me. And lucky enough, Sylveon has enough defense. Even though it's mild nature, it's going to barely survive an Iron Head. We're able to beat down Lysander and not lose a Pokemon too. We're still at 0 deaths, which is pretty impressive. Now from there, we can move out and face off against our rivals on a bridge, a little less tense fight. And also even less, we're going to face off against the 8th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Wolfric. Wolfric's going to start the battle off against us using an Abomasnow. I go out to my Glaceon. It works out pretty well because he sets up Hail for me, and Blizzard will always be 100% accurate, as we're able to two-shot into the Abomasnow and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Cryogonal. As I go out to my Umbreon, Umbreon takes a Flash Cannon, which is fine, then gets confused, kind of annoying. But I two-shot into the Cryogonal using Return, as I'm able to break through confusion, beat down a Cryogonal, and then his final Pokemon will be an Avalok, which I go out into my Vaporeon. Vaporeon tanks the hits pretty easily, and then two Seraphs would knock him out, as we're to beat down Wolfric and get ourselves the 8th gym badge in the game in a very underwhelming final fight. From there, we can move on into Victory Road and clear through Victory Road, get our Pokemon to the level cap at 63. You go above 63 once you enter the Elite Four, obviously, but we get ourselves to 63, and then from there, we can move out and then switch up our items. We can give a bunch of Lax Instants to all my Pokemon, besides Espeon with the Mind Plate, and also Sea Instants to my Vaporeon. From there, we're going to enter the Elite Four in the Pokemon League itself. Our first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Malva, because Malva is probably the easiest one. I say that, but we're going to start the battle off against Malva. She can start the battle off against us using a Pyroar. I use my Vaporeon, obviously. I get Noble Roar, which is kind of annoying, but I go for a Surf. One-shot the Pyroar, so, didn't really matter with the special defense drop. Her next Pokemon will be a Talonflame, which goes for a Brave Bird. Crits me, knocks me down to 90 HP, which is pretty bad. I go for a Surf at least, and it one-shots him. And then her next Pokemon will be a Torkoal. I know I outspeed, and Torkoal has abysmal special defense, so we're able to one-shot the Torkoal. And their final Pokemon will be a Chandelier, which I was kind of scared of, so I was like, what if it doesn't kill? So I switched out for no reason. I switched out to my Umbreon, which will get burned, and then the bite doesn't do any more damage. I'm like, I gotta switch out to my Jolteon. I get a Flamethrower to my face, kind of annoying, but then from there, I'm gonna knock him down to low HP using Thunderbolt. It confuses me, but I know it's gonna use a full restore as I switch out to my Vaporeon, and I'm kind of assuming that Vaporeon's gonna outspeed the Chandelier, which it doesn't, but lucky enough, it just goes for a Confuse Ray, and I'm like, oh, That was very lucky. Hopefully I could have survived a Shadow Ball, but that was a bad play. I thought I was going to outspeed the Chandelier as I surf and knock him out in one shot, but it works out for us, I guess. From there, we're going to move on and face off against the next easiest one. We're going to face off against Drasna. Drasna's going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Glaceon against her Dragalge. Maybe to go for a Blizzard pretty easily and just knock him out. Super simple. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Northern, which I go for an Ice Beam. I take a Flamethrower and then Burns Me. I'm like, Glaceon's supposed to be special defensive. What happened there? But either way, we're able to beat down a Northern. Her next Pokemon will be a little scarier, a Druddigon. As I go into my Sylveon, I take a Revenge pretty easily, and then Moonblast to one-shot. Sylveon's just broken. You could beat the game with Sylveon, honestly. From there, I'm also able to Moonblast and knock out the Altaria as we're able to beat down Drasna. And now we can move on to the next Elite Four member. We're going to face off against Wikstrom next. Wikstrom's going to be the Steel type Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Jolteon against his Klefki. Make sure I don't lose Jolteon before the next Elite Four member, the Water type one, but we're going to go for a Thunderbolt and then 2-shot into the Klefki as I get tormented. His next Pokemon will be a Probopass, which I know has Earth Power, but I'm pretty sure I survive it. It's not that strong of a Pokemon. I was looking for a Flinch here, does not get it, but it's going to Earth Power me and do like 0 damage as I'm just going to leave anyways. I go out to my Vaporeon, I take an Earth Power, which kind of sucks, because you'll see later on, every chip damage kind of sucks. I surf and knock out the Probopass. His next Pokemon will be his Aegislash, which I go for Baby Doll Eyes, because I kind of assumed he was going to go, I don't know what kind of read this was, but I thought he was going to use some kind of King Shield. So Baby Doll Eyes and status moves go through King Shield, but then he does it again. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you get 2? But that's fine. I go for a Surf. He lives it, which is fine. He goes for a Shadow Claw, which I live, and then Surf, outspeed him, knock him out pretty easy. His final Pokemon will be a Scizor, which I stayed in. For some reason, actually this is the right play. This is the right play. I agree this is the right play. I go for a Surf. It doesn't kill him. He goes for an X-Scissor. I know I could live it, but it crits. It crits, and I think he's in Swarm mode. Yeah, I think he possibly might be in Swarm mode to knock out my Vaporeon. And I was so upset that happened. I lost Vaporeon and lost the undefeated streak. So we're able to Thunderbolt and knock out the Scizor, but oh my god, that's so disappointing. At least it didn't happen to my Jolteon, because I really need Jolteon against the next Elite Four member. Our next Elite Four member is going to be Steelberg. Steelberg's going to be the Water type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Jolteon, obviously, against his Clawitzer. We're able to Thunderbolt and knock out the Clawitzer pretty easily. His next Pokemon will be a Gyarados, so we're going to one-shot him as well. His next Pokemon after that will be a Barbarico, which I go for Thunderbolt, knock him out. Yeah, you know the drill. Starmie comes out, one-shotted. We're able to beat down Steelberg pretty easily. From there, we're going to move out and face off against the next and final Elite Four member in the game. We're going to face off against the champion, Diantha. Diantha's going to start the battle off against us using a Hawlucha. I start the battle off against her using my Jolteon. And we're able to Thunderbolt, one-shot the Hawlucha, which is very nice. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Tyrantrum, which I'm like, ooh, kind of scary. Can use Head Smash for sure. I go out to my Umbreon. I take one Head Smash, and then from there, I can go for a Baby Doll Eyes. As long as it doesn't crit me, and it doesn't, I'm able to live it pretty easily and then switch out into my Sylveon. I take another Head Smash, still does a lot of damage as I'm able to Moonblast and knock out the Tyrantrum. His next Pokemon, I wish I had Draining Kiss, would have been really good to have Draining Kiss. Her next Pokemon will be an Aurorus, and as long as I don't get paralyzed through Thunder or frozen through Blizzard, I should be fine as I go out to my Espeon to just set up using Calm Mind. Eventually, I think I got like +4 or +5. Eventually, when Light Screen wears off, I made a Psychic into him and knock him out. Then her next Pokemon after that will be a Gourgeist, which I Psychic, knock him out as well. And then her final Pokemon will be a Goodra, which I go for Dazzling Gleam. And that should be game, as her final Pokemon will be a Mega Gardevoir, which I could go for Dazzling Gleam, but I decided to test out the damage of Psychic +4 with a Mind Plate. Doesn't one-shot the Gardevoir, surprisingly, but at this point, she's kind of stuck using full restores. I did not know she had this many full restores, because it has never happened to me. She has so many full restores, it's actually obnoxious. I think she has 4 or 5. So this is the 4th one. And it's not the last. That is the last. She has 4 full restores. Super annoying woman. But we're going to beat down Diantha, clear through the champion of the game, and then from there, I mean, that's it. We beat the game. We face off against AZ, and Jolteon just cooks. I don't know why I just stay in with Jolteon. The challenge is over. I am happy to say we beat Pokemon X and Y using only shiny Eeveelutions. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha, and I hope you all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.